Welcome back to Oinkching Gaming. I am Drew, your host, CEO and founder of Oinkching, which is a financial technology company startup. We are, and we're playing World Seed today, as you can clearly see that we're playing World Seed. Kind of a meandering set of conversations today. We're in a good place. We're in a good place in World Seed. I hit a snag there for a couple days where I felt like, man, what am I doing? What's my next thing, And I wasn't entirely sure what my next thing was. I'm tracking something right now. Each time I get a gemstone, I'm tracking it. More on that later. Give you a little heads up on where we're going with that piece of data. But, I hit a point where I was kind of like, man, what do I do next, right? I've taken off all the own world bosses, got them, dead. I can consistently knock them out. However, the Seed World bosses, I still got some work to do. So, okay, eventually that's 4 videos, 4 Seed World, but well, not 4, because Ragnar's already easy peasy. You can see I'm checking through all these to see if they're gemstones, and I'm clicking off it. It's taking a little bit longer, but I'm doing it for you, and you'll understand why. So obviously, Ragnar is not going to be one that we go over, but we'll go over Ishiana, we'll go over Allura, which we've started in on. And we'll go over who's the one I'm missing? Hydro. Hydro's really not a problem at this point. There's one I'm forgetting. What's the Frost one? The Frost one. Kyle. It's kind of Kyle. Oy vey. Anyway, so all right, we'll knock them out one by one, but it's the same meta. It's just more. It's just more than you did before, but same style gameplay for each one of those. So other than showing you I've overcome them, there isn't a whole lot to it. Right now we're just farming, just utterly farming. I need a lava river, and then we'll switch seed worlds. I'm basically just picking off these missions one by one and enjoying the process of just farming up my gear. But there has been some improvement. There's an enchanted mace. Thank you very much. There has been some improvement. So namely, one thing that Kim has changed due to us talking about things that drive us nuts. These loadout spots here have always been memory slots. So whatever you were wearing last time, you click on it and it would change everything. Well, that included seeds. So you'd throw a seed on, then you'd switch loadouts, and you would come back to the original world, and that seed would stay a part of that loadout, right? And so if you went back to the loadout, you'd suddenly be in the seed world. It was jarring. It was mildly annoying, but it was jarring. Now, I can change my gear. I'm in the fire world. I can go to my gear, and the seed doesn't change, right? So that is a quality of life improvement from Kim after some feedback. This is the kind of iteration that you can only do with people. Like, he brought the loadout. All right, that was a major step forward. Right now there's 5 loadouts. Six, and here's why. For all of my builds except nature, I run a 95%. Armor build, okay? Except for nature, where with Allura and Boris I run a dodge damage build, okay? But that build isn't as effective in the seed world as it is against those bosses, and so I would like to create a 6th build, which is my nature attuned 95% armor build. But without that slot, the idea of going to the seed world and then clicking on each one and adding them to would have just gone. In fact, I'm not entirely sure how people, before the loadouts, I'm not sure how people carried many sets. That would have driven me nuts. So loadouts are like game changer, super important. They've only been around for 2 weeks. A 6th loadout spot would be super awesome. But that improvement to the loadouts where the seed isn't affected is very nice. Very nice. Okay? So now I can show you, sitting in the fire world, what we've improved upon. The first one we've looked at is obviously the nature set. You can notice now this is all the way up to 45% nature attunement. And that's because I went with that Kyle's Might nature attuned. That's 10%. We already had the boots, which were already 24 health nature attuned plus 5% nature attuned, so 6%. Another 6 here with a dodge. Looks like tier 8 opal up in there. But these are new. I really couldn't decide if I wanted to dump the Ingrin's gloves, because the Ingrin's gloves gives you 10% critical chance. And I do use the critical chance on Kyle's Might. In this build, I'm running at basically 38% critical chance. It actually goes up when I change my stance. you can make it go up if you change your stance. One of these brings up critical chance a little bit. There you go. You can do that if you want to give up dodge. I don't. I pretty much stay defensive heavy attacks. The initiative I can handle giving that up, but I want that dodge percentage coming in for the Allura build. But nevertheless, the critical chance is important to me. And so losing, I had Ingram's gloves that were void attuned with some dodge, which helped, right? They're really made for the void set, but they helped with Allura, A, B. I didn't want to lose that critical chance. So otherwise I would have gone with cloth. And I also had a high level sapphire nature attuned, which gives critical chance. And so the theory here is, if I don't like these gloves, I can try to put cloth with opal nature attuned if I want to go for more dodge and less critical chance. But my theory is, if I'm hitting 13% more often, 110% more damage on darn near 140 damage, that's going to provide me way more damage in percentage to the HP of Boris than the benefit of more dodge and the savings of the HP to me. That's my theory. I sat down and did the math, and it was close. But I went with a critical chance, really focused, nature-attuned pair of gloves to try to hit a hybrid model. I'm not a great dodger, right? This gets up to about 47% against Boris. But that combined with a lot of damage means I really only ever go 4, 5, 6 rounds and it's over. And usually, Boris is dead. So that's been the improvement here, and I'm fully nature-attuned. Can't be any more nature-attuned. The improvements from here on out, though, have to do with pearls, tier 10s, because on the cloth, I'm running a tier 7 pearl. On the Allura's talisman, I've got a tier 8 emerald nature-attuned on there, and a tier, looks like 8 water-attuned. And so if I can put 2 tier 10 nature attuned in there, the net benefit to me will be a swing of, I'd lose 9 initiative, but pick up 36 HP and 1% nature attunement. So there's some improvements to be made there, and this is running a tier 8 pearl as well. So there are mild improvements I can make, and I can honestly pull together probably another 60 to 70 HP into this setup here to make it that much better, which would probably increase my win rate from 94% to 98%, But getting nature-attuned pearls seems to be difficult. That's foreshadowing to something we're going to discuss later. So that's been one improvement. And then the Void set and me have been going back and forth. I built this blood ring. It seems that the blood rings, and I'm going to test this, but it seems the blood rings give you more, when you enchant them, they give you more randomized benefits, right? Damage, armor, durability. There's 8 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8. Whereas with the Allura's talisman, I think there were 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. So this blood ring gives you 8 random benefits with 1 slot, whereas the talisman gives you 6 benefits with 2 slots. If you're getting high-level gems, the 2 slots probably is a better typical option, but I wanted to try the blood ring to research that exact thing. Does enchanting these rings lead to any other benefits that maybe aren't on the surface? I mean, why would anybody choose a ring with 1 slot over Allura's talisman with 2, unless when you enchanted them, the benefits somehow mapped out, right? So I like that mechanism, so I built that. I kept the Ingram's gloves, still using those water boots on this set because of the HP. Plenty of room to improve here. Certainly the Void set needs a little bit of work and a little bit of love. It's not stopping me from killing black, but I'm not killing Ishi on it nearly enough. I have gone, though, using this Kyle's Might Drain nature tuned here. And that's yummy. And I think that's one solution here, is to throw a Kyle's Might attuned to Void. I don't have a tier 10 one at the moment, and I don't want to craft one. So there's that. All right. Ice, I don't think there's been any improvements in ice. I'm not even sure that's, partly good. But there has been some upgrades to water. Water, I went ahead and made a new Allura's Talisman. I happen to have a tier 9 Pearl, water attuned, and a tier 10 Ruby, water attuned. So the combination of those two things with an Allura's Talisman attuned to water made a lot of sense. So I went ahead and built a water attuned Allura's Talisman because I had the gemstones that made sense. And when I ran this one, it came out okay. I mean, I could use everything that it provides me except dodge chance is usable on this build. So I'll take it. It's an improvement. And my fire build is now up to its max number, barring the rebuild of the trophy. So we're pretty much done over here for the time being, except for potentially slight variations in gemstones. So good progress on all of them. All of them took a step forward, some more than others. I think the nature build took probably the biggest step forward, and then the water took the next biggest step forward in the builds since we last spoke. Now, the chit chat here about this trophy off attunement. Well, I got my first off attuned trophy, and I will show you that now. We'll go through our tier 10s. If you go tier 10 and you pick trophy, if you have 2 of any type, then one of them is definitely off tune. So if you haven't memorized by now which is the correct attunement for each, what is the natural attunement for each trophy, then by going here and just finding one that you have 2 of, that'll tell you, oh, well, there you go, there's an off attunement. You pretty much know, but you can see it right there, the tusk. So tusks are void. They come from, no, tusks come from boar. That's nature. It's nature. So this is the natural. So it's damage, critical chance, armor pen, initiative, all good stuff. All at fairly lowish levels. I mean, it's all kind of minor tweakishness to it, but it's naturally nature tuned. I managed to get a tier 10 void attuned version of a tusk. So that's what I'm talking about, getting off attunement. This fire set that I've got left really can only be improved in one more way besides tweaking the gemstones for what it is, and that one way is to get that fire shell from water attunement to fire attunement, and that would place my fire attunement literally at 50%, which is pretty epic. For a little while there was a bug that the attunements didn't seem to be working very effectively, and that has been fixed. So yay that fixed. That was about a 48-hour turnaround. Some guy did a pretty thorough job of looking at attunements and their behavior to damage and realized this was wrong, screenshot it all, got it to Kim, and he tweaked it and cleaned it up. So nice work on that, everybody. So there's the update on the builds. We are now in the world where they're all specialized. I no longer have a generic set of matured out of the general set that I can use anywhere to be useful anywhere. I've now moved out of that into, essentially, I've got one for every boss type. As he adds Earth, my desperation for another loadout spot skyrockets. Because while this is mildly annoying to walk around nature seed worlds wearing, a void set or the water set, one of these gives me the best nature tunes. This gives me basically 95%, almost 95% and 10% nature tune. So I walk around that world with that set. I would much prefer, I've got the materials and whatnot to create a 95% armor build nature attuned, but I don't wear it because I don't have a loadout spot for it. I don't want to put it on every time I go walking around. This set does good enough job in the seed worlds. I'm fine. You run into some tier 7 nature dragons, which I don't ever run into, so it's not really a problem. I wish I would more often, but I don't. That set might fall a little bit short of that victory. If it were to nature tuned, I'd probably be able to pull it off more consistently. But I don't have a loadout spot, so I'm not bothering to do it. When Earth comes out, I hope the loadout spots go up. There's 10 numbers to use here. 5 more loadout spots would be epic. Would be fantastic. So there's that. So we're gonna knock out some quests and do some upgrading here, and I'll bring it back when I want to show you what I've been working on. So welcome back. We're now sitting inside of Seed World 3, Nature, and you can see the dodge is working just fine, but when I do get hit, it takes a pretty penny. Oh, there's a pearl. Gonna put that in my spreadsheet, and that's a clue to what I've been working on for y'all. So I had noticed the real struggle seems to be maxing out your gemstones. Enchanted material, you can put the work in, and you're going to find what you need to find. So I was looking through my gemstones, and the reality was, man, what is the deal with the gemstones? Why is this so difficult? I think I have a quest for those, which is why I took the Mother Nature. Why is it so difficult to find the gemstones I want? Like nature, I really want some tier 10 nature attuned pearls. What's the deal? Why am I not getting those? And one theory I had as I was looking through my stuff is obviously the gemstones you use, So when you use a tier 7 version of something, it's gone and it's not there to combine into your 8s. And so certainly that to which you use your supply and demand curve, obviously your demand is higher than your supply, and you're going to have trouble keeping that in stock, right? So there's one issue, but something else kept coming up. Dark Nights is one thing I need. Dark Nights and I think Tree Folk. Dark Nights, Tree Folk. Yep. And this I just got to kill as many things as possible. There's been some new weapons added. I'll show you that in a minute. So, man, it seems to me that I keep getting the same gems consistently in the same areas. There's a pearl and a sapphire. And so what I have been developing, nature, pearl, boom. You can't see it because it's off camera. Pearl. What was the other one? Sapphire. What I developed was a small test. Okay, and I'm going to give you just the basics here, and I'll go through the results in the next video because I'm still working on the data. But I went through and I did 51 squares, and I tracked every jewel I got, and then I put them into a table and actually graphed them. And that was when you're kind of into the scientific method, what you're looking to do essentially is establish a hypothesis. And my hypothesis was that, in fact, it seemed to me that gemstones, while any gemstone could drop in any biome, there were some that were found more often in certain environments. I kept realizing every time I went to the water world, I'd get pearls. Just lots of pearls. Now, it makes sense, doesn't it, that you'd find pearls in the water world? And you could find pearls anywhere in the world, but I got persistently a lot of pearls there. Nature and topaz. I get a lot of topaz in the nature environment. Rubies and fire, right? I seem to get a lot, and they don't seem to cross over. So I had this theory that, in fact, gemstones were affected by the biome you were in. So I developed this small test, and I did 51 squares, and I tracked the results. This was merely to test my hypothesis to see if there was any credence to the idea that, in fact, there was some relationship between biome and gemstone. And my initial results, which you will get soon, you'll get in the next video, frankly, I'll go through what I've done, were interesting enough that I took the test further and examined some of the controls. Okay, so something to stay attuned for in the next video. And the only reason I'm not presenting it now is because I haven't summarized the results of my second set of tests to figure out if I've got anything really worth presenting. It will be presented as a theory. Make no sense. As a theory is too far, scientifically too far ahead. It will be presented as a hypothesis backed by some early research. But I've got something for you that you are going to be intrigued about. And I just haven't seen any conversation about it. But I feel like it's become apparent to me that there's something there. Okay, I'm being coy, but that's called a hook. All right, I just got my tree folk. That's what I've been looking for here. So now we're going to change biomes yet again as I search for quests to do at the moment. So in the topic of quality of life updates. This is not an update. This is just something that you need to know. There's been a lot of complaining I've seen, and I don't call it complaining. It's just, you articulate what you would like to see, and there's chit chat about the way you move around the map. And I saw an idea to put like teleporters, so you could teleport from town to town to town, which I'm not totally against. However, one of the tricks that you need to learn in this game is that actually you don't necessarily, and it took me some experimentation to figure this out, and then eventually I figured it out. I went to Discord and I found someone actually say it, so I feel really good about this. But where you get the danger zones in each biome are based on the tile type. And so in the frost biome, okay, this kind of mountainous, it's called highlands. This mountainous region is considered a danger zone. And so I can free walk through any of these squares here. Okay, I can free walk through any of these. This forest square I can free walk through. This open plains I can free walk through. I can just, don't have to do anything. But the minute I hit, and you can see this, I put my cursor over this, it says you can go this way. If I put my cursor over this, it's got a skull. The minute I go into that, I've got to make a choice. These cards force me into a choice. And so, knowing that changes the way you move around the map. If I want to get up to this town, then I'm going to plot my path through the least amount of the things that stop me. So in this biome, it's the highlands. In the fire biome, it's the mountains. So I have to make this choice here. It's a danger zone. Doesn't matter the level or the tier. For a while I thought level or tier or attunement had an effect. I tested all those theories. No, the only thing that has an effect is the type of tile. So I'm moving through these with my nose is just itchy today. I probably need to shave. When you have a mouth caterpillar, occasionally you get a hair or two that shoots up and it tickles your nose, and it's not enjoyable. It's not cute. It's not fun. And nowadays, when you cough, people think you've got the corona, so it's particularly problematic. You got to keep the beard under control. So that pathing I just did there showed you how quickly you can move around the map, knowing what biome you're looking for. We're going to grab any of these quests. There's an onyx. I love the gemstones. Love the gemstones. Those are pretty easy to get. Are there any that I would dump to get that, though? This water dragon one I just grabbed to grab. Where's that water dragon? Where'd you go? I don't want to go hunting for a water dragon. Not really. Not when I can easy peasy and grab this jewel. I'll take the jewel over that. Okay, so in this biome, anything but the mountains. Watch, I'm gonna see this mountain and I'm gonna go around it. Right, this is not a bear hunt. You can go around it. You don't have to go through it. All right, and you can see I'm just escaping through the little holes here. I mean, I could go right through it. And it might be faster in this case to go through it than all the way around it. I'm sure it was. In the void area, it's the cactus. It's the cactus, right? So I can move through all of these just fine. But the minute I hit a cactus, nope, now you've got to stop. I'm just going to grab that. So you can see I'm pathing. I'm going to go down and show you the forest. So this is how you can move around the map really quite easily, is to path your way around the things that stop you. So here we go. We're going to stop at this market because, you know, I like the feeling. I can't go to a store anymore, you know. So now I'll just go here and buy everything I see. And it doesn't feel the same, but you know, sometimes you got to accept lower levels. In the nature environment, it's the woods. The woods are your danger area. And again, if you just put your cursor over it, it will tell you this has got a skull. That means a danger area. This does not. So I can move here, no problem. So as you're moving around the map, that's how you do it. There's my claim right there. A lot of you may have been losing your claims lately. I talked about how low-level claims don't necessarily help you for very long, but what they do is block a space. And so if I've got a tier, for example, this person here has got a tier 3 claim, it's a tier 2 spot, right? So not a big deal. But if that tier 3 claim were sitting on top of a tier 7 claim, oh, well, that blocks a tier 7 claim for some player somewhere. And that's just kind of an annoyance. Now, unless you have 2 accounts and you can go and clear an account, the only way you can take a square is you go, you conquest, you clear, but now you've checked the mark. So if there was a spot with a let's find one. Here's a tier 1 claim. I feel like right here. Here's your tier 1 claim. Nothing wrong with tier 1 claim. Clearly, this player is learning the game, so good. However, if that spot were to run to a 7, I could create a tier 1 character, defeat this character. Right, it would set my claim in place. I could remove the claim, but the box would be checked, and then I couldn't go back and get my tier 7. So that means you almost have to have 2 accounts to do this action, or ask somebody to do it for you. That's slightly annoying. So in the terms of this game, you certainly don't want this thing clogged with tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 claims. They don't help the player all that long. They're really just a starting point. You have it, you get it for a little while, good for you, but you need to be getting to tier 4 and 5 claims in this game within a couple of days. And so it behooves us all to clear those every once in a while. Grimlock was doing that 2 videos ago. He was going through and clearing the 1s and the 2s. Good for Grimlock, right? It's frankly good for everybody. Might hurt a newbie's feelings, but they should get over it, right? Ultimately, you could die and get all your tier 1 gear back and go get another tier 1 claim. There's nothing stopping you. We call what I just described winning by streaking. We've come up with this theory that you could just start the game, take off all your armor, go die, start the game again, take off all your armor, go die, start the game, take off all your armor, go die. Now you've got 3 sets of tier 1 armor. You can go and upgrade everything up to tier 2, and you've never killed a thing. You've just died 3 times, taken all your armor, upgraded them up to tier 2. And if you did that, a handful of times, you could simply not kill or win anything and tier your player up actually pretty quickly through tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ironically, that would be hilarious, quite frankly, if anyone actually did that. Maybe someday I'll try that, but we call that winning by streaking. We came up with that theory. Nevertheless, you shouldn't feel bad about removing tier 1, 2s, and 3s. There has been a player who has decided to take this to tier 4. And for an entire day, the chat box was just like, conquest by Azrael. And he cleared all the ones, fine. No skin off my back. Cleared all the twos, okay, fine. Cleared all the threes. Literally, there was no more threes except one. Chan has left a landmine character who's a level 1 but could probably kill, or level 2, but could probably kill most tier 9s. But besides that one, he had cleared the entire map of 1s and 2s, and then he cleared all of 3s. Now 3 is kind of my gray area. Like, okay, I would probably leave 3s. I mean, if I were clearing the map, I'd probably leave 3s for the most part, unless it was a really problematic thing. But he cleared the 3s, okay. And then he cleared the 4s. And it was just literally, you'd see Azrael tier 10, Azrael tier 1, Azrael tier 7, Azrael as he kept putting gear on, taking gear off, putting gear on, taking gear off, and then it would be conquest. So I'll dictate the massacre of Azrael, where he cleared the entire map of 1, 2, 3s, and 4s in a night. Don't get married to your claim. It's a part of the game. Put junk armor in there if you're afraid of losing it, or create great armor so that when somebody challenges it, they lose. Right? Nothing in between. Nothing in between. Don't put a piece or two there that you really like, and then a bunch of pieces that are garbage. You're going to lose the stuff that you like. Don't ever put stuff there that you care about, unless you've gone all out to put a set of gear there that can defend itself. It's two extremes, and then don't get married to it, because you're a sitting duck, right? We can look at your stats. I can look at this player here, Louisia, and I can see exactly what you're wearing, and so I can counter this. Two-handed spear, a bunch of leather, your initiative with jaw. I can already kind of feel out what you're going to be, and I can counter you pretty easy. You're not enchanted. This wouldn't be a difficult one to clear. I wouldn't do that, but some would. So anyway, that's it for today. In the next episode, I'm going to show you the results of my study on gemstones. All right, we'll see you then.